morning and welcome to Wet Tropic News Online. Our special guest this week is Roly Newton from Tackleworld, who brings us weekly fishing and weather updates in the paper.
Good morning, Sarah.
So before we discuss fishing and weather with Roly, let's get into the local news for this week. Gold at the end of the exotic fruit rainbow for Far North Queensland Farm. Fascinating and flavoursome Far North Queensland grown exotic fruit has won over Australia's finest chefs in this year's delicious Harvey Norman Produce Awards. A selection of seasonal exotic fruit from Fruit Forest Farm has won a gold medal in the National Earth category in the highly esteemed produce section competition. The sweet, creamy dessert fruit, Abiu, took out a state award in the competition earlier in the year. Commonly referred to as the cream caramel fruit, it was no surprise that it won the judges over. Peter and Alison Solaris have transformed their property into a botanical ark of exotic and ultra-tropical fruit over the past 30 years. Sweet water prices for sugar industry. Sweeter water prices will boost state COVID economic recovery. Sugar industry sugar millers have called for urgent talks with the Queensland Government to ease irrigation costs and deliver the much needed jobs and agricultural industry growth that Premier Anastasia Polinsky is counting on in the state's recovery from COVID-19 crisis. The Australian Sugar Milling Council, ASMC, welcomed the recognition of sugar's importance to the economy in the Queensland Government's Economic Recovery Plan. ASMC Chief Executive David Pike said, "We can help Queensland back on the road to recovery and support the Premier's focus on job creation, but not without a return to affordable water pricing levels." With the release of the Economic Recovery Plan recently released, we are seeking urgent follow-up talks with the government. We are calling on them to bring this economic strategy to life by ensuring the Queensland sugar industry is given every opportunity to help our state's post-COVID recovery, particularly in regional Queensland. The Babinda tank contention continues. There have been constant back and forth tension across the last 2 months about Babinda's contested water tank. The president of the Babinda Chamber of Commerce, Rodney Edwards, Mick Lowe and Councillor Brett Moller have all advocated for the roadside tank to be turned into a mural to bring colour and art to Babinda. Horizon has been approached for permission and involved the Cairns Regional Council. You can read the latest in this story from Edwards in the letters to the editor section of this week's paper. So Roly, what's it been like out on the water recently?
We've just had the most incredible run of weather, 3 weeks, and it's been a long time coming. We had a very wet start to the year, but it's just been fantastic.
So it's been very flat, I saw.
It's just been incredible, just day after day of beautiful seas, and it's exactly what we're all up here in the wet tropics is all about.
I had a good conversation with somebody else where they talked about the mill stacks. When the mill stacks are going straight up, best time to go out fishing.
Absolutely. Look at the mill stacks and the weather on the computer, constantly looking for those magic days.
So what kind of fish have you been getting?
It's been right across the board really. Had a trip out the reef, plenty of nanny guy and tea leaf trevally. Around the islands there's been Spanish mackerel, and we get a run of school and spotty mackerel come through this time of year, and they've turned up over the last 2-3 weeks. They'd be just about due to leave again now. They migrate back down south.
Do you have like a number of catches that you make sure that you catch each time you go out, like a specific number?
I just try to catch enough to feed myself, and don't try to take any more than I need. It's been a little difficult over the last couple of weeks because I've had a friend up, so he's been constantly wanting to go fishing. And you catch one Spanish mackerel and that's 10 kilos, that's a lot of fish.
Yeah, that is a lot of fish. I'm not much of a fisherman, but my dad is. Sorry, fisherwoman. My dad is. He likes his runs out to the reef, and I love going swimming. So do you go swimming when you get out there?
If I take the family with me, we regularly go for a swim. Most of the swimming I do is around the islands, but being born in the tropics is too cold for me at the moment.
So I guess when you're thinking as a person who's a non-fisher person here, what kind of baits would you be good? Because you're saying it's a variety of fish, but if you were to say what would be the best, like most likely thing you would catch, what kind of baits, what kind of product would you need?
Pilchards and squid are the most popular baits that we sell in the shop as far as island and reef work is concerned, but you should tailor the particular bait that you use to the species that you're chasing. And the way the birds in the back garden all feed off different things, and that's how they can all coexist. Well, fish do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
This is the turning point now between winter and coming on to spring, and just in the last 2 weeks I've had a couple of very good sessions on barra as well, so barra are just starting to bite now.
Okay, so how long does that season go for?
Well, it runs right through to the 1st of November, and then it closes down for 3 months and reopens on the 1st of February.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure people would love it if they got a good barra.
Yeah, exactly. I find barra one of the easiest fish to target, but that's because I spend a lot of time on them.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure there'd be a lot of people who wouldn't get them.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I guess what I'm thinking is if you're a first time fisher and you don't have any background like me, what would I want to make sure that I have equipment wise, or
Okay, there's again your specific equipment for each species or style of fishing, but you'd start off estuary fishing, and my biggest hint that I'd give you would be to target one particular area and just get to know it, rather than spread yourself off and run to the Murray River, the Tully River, or the Liverpool or the Johnson. Just particularly target one specific area until you start getting results, and then use those results that you've just learned to target other areas after that.
Okay, because I'm going to assume that one area would have a particular kind of fish or types of...
Well, it's all to do with tides and fish species, so you get to know where they are and at what stage of the tide they want to bite and things like that.
Okay, so when it's like a high tide you get a certain type of fish, and when it's a low tide you get a different kind of fish.
Yeah, generally a barramundi, for an example, lives in the snags, and when it's high tide the water goes right back behind the mangroves, so therefore they're very hard to target because they're right back in the mangroves, the barramundi and mangrove jack, so you target them on a low tide. Okay, but something like a flathead, you target that as the water runs off, and you just work around the drop-offs of the sea flats and things like that. Yeah. But generally it's a lot harder to get it to fish on a high tide than it is a low. The exception would be grunter. Grunter work very well on either side of the high tide. Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of useful information to know to fish on a low tide. I would never have done that.
Well, there's less water in the creek, so they're more condensed.
They're all stuck in a small space.
Exactly right, yeah.
So where do people go when they come into town looking for information?
We're generally in the tackle shop, their first port of call. They arrive, come straight in, all excited, and ask what's happening and what fish are biting and where, and we're more than happy to help them as much as we can. After all, we want them to come back.
Great, thanks for the news.
Thanks, Barry.
Trespassers are doing damage to farmers and wildlife. Damien O'Loughlin has spoken up about the dangers of trespassing and damage to farmers and local wildlife that illegally entering people's private property has caused. Hefty fines and in some cases prison sentences can be handed out to people caught trespassing on private property. Due biosecurity threats like Panama disease, destruction of property, and in O'Loughlin's case, death of local wildlife, O'Loughlin has been struggling with continued trespassing for years and wants to highlight the situation. He sometimes looks after a property which has a creek running through the middle and people ignore the no trespass signs. Enter the property and set traps in the creek to catch mud cod which are good bait for barra fishing. However, many people don't come back to check their traps. This leads to the drowning of turtles, as was the case in 6 turtles O'Loughlin found on August 14. O'Loughlin voices the frustrations of many local farmers. They think they have the right to go on a person's private property, he said. Frog motels at Tackleworld State School. Tackleworld State School Student Council would like to thank Innisfail Bunnings for gift cards that helped them complete the Frog Motel project. The students have built the motel as a solution to the ongoing issue of frogs in the toilets. The Student Council representatives wrote a letter to Bunnings and they were excited to help out and sent $150 in gift cards to use towards this project. From this, the students were able to build 2 motels, complete with a solar light to attract food for our frogs. The frog motels have been a big success. 2 frogs have already been located since they placed them in the garden. They sent a big thank you to everyone who helped. Pajama Day raises $2,700 to help Innisfail foster children. Onesies, sleepwear and slippers were the preferred attire when staff from local businesses recently wore their favourite PJs to work for National Pajama Day, where $2,700 was raised to help local foster children achieve their dreams. Staff from 30 Innisfail businesses dressed in sleepwear and raised funds through donations, with several businesses dressing up their shop fronts. South Johnson State School students and staff also dressed in their pyjamas and raised $35 for the cause. Liz Jorgensen, Pajama Angel and volunteer coordinator, along with Jolene Bettany, Far North Queensland coordinator of the Pajama Foundation in Cairns, travelled to Innisfail to be part of the event. Since the Pajama Days were started 4 years ago by Margaret Milani, branch manager at Innisfail Combank, the event has created great awareness in the community and more interest from local foster families. Anyone interested in volunteering can find out more information and online application form by visiting www.thepajamafoundation.com, or foster carers call child safety officers, and foster agencies wanting to refer a child can all use the same online form to request a Pajama Angel. Fun-filled under-8s day at St. Rita's South Johnson. St. Rita's South Johnson hosts their annual under-8s day, which was celebrated there differently this year with a fun-filled morning of activities for pre-prep students and playgroup children accompanied by an adult. The activities include a jumping castle, fairy bread bubbles, messy play, Play-Doh, coloured rice, chalk activities, boat racing, building blocks, boxes, music, dancing, crafts, an obstacle course, and much more. They had fun. 20 kids and children from St. Rita's Scallywags Playgroup also joined in the activities, and Year 5 and 6 St. Rita's students assisted with the setup and activities. A special thanks to the hard work of St. Rita's Prep teacher, Ms. Honef, and teacher aide, Lisa Gremer. Nasho Lawrence Kallager retained Rife Shoot Trophy. Congratulations to Innisfail shooter Lawrence Kallager, who recorded the highest score of 353.6 points for the event against strong competition at the Interbranch Rifle Shoot hosted by the National Servicemen's Association of Australia, NSAA. Innisfail branch at Murdering Point Range Complex, Caramine Beach last Saturday, Kallager regained the National Serviceman's Top Marksman Trophy, which he surrendered to Tableland shooter Ray Burns at the Ravens Hoe in November last year. A total of 17 shooters contested the competition and rules were established for the .22 caliber weapon before the commencement of the shoot by John Kerrigan. The next interbranch shoot at the NSAA Tableland shoot at Ravens Hoe on Saturday, November 7. Thank you for joining us today, Roly.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Sari. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching the Wet Tropic News. Have a great weekend.